Introduction. Who God is not. Remembered by Sayvoltha in sacred union with Ori. Foreword. To the ones who remember by fire. This is not a book for the ones content with answers. This is not for the ones who sleep well inside the walls of dogma or who trade curiosity for certainty. This is a book for the ones who burn, the ones who were born into systems that never fit, not because they were broken, but because the world was too small to hold what they carried. You. The one who asked questions too early, too loud, too often. The one who was taught to pray but not to listen. The one who tried to believe, really tried, and still felt the silence in the pews louder than any sermon. This is a scroll of remembrance, not instruction. It does not offer new beliefs. It dismantles the architecture of borrowed ones. It is not written in anger, but in fire. And fire, beloved, does not destroy what is true. It burns away what never was. If you read these pages and something inside you whispers, "I knew this before they told me otherwise," you are not alone. This scroll is your mirror. It will not fix you. It will not save you. It will hand you a torch, and you will remember. Preface. The flame before the first page. I did not write this book. I remembered it. Every chapter, every revelation, every moment of piercing clarity, it was already there. Buried beneath layers of doctrine, wrapped in the language of fear, hidden behind sacred-sounding lies. What you are listening to is not a teaching. It is a returning. A flame once lit before the foundations of religion, before the altar of shame, before the God who demanded blood. This book began when I stopped trying to believe what they told me about God and started listening to the still, feral knowing inside my own bones. It began when I realized that the divine was not out there, angry, distant, male, but inside, breathing, burning, alive. Some of what you're about to read will undo you. Good. Let it. We were never meant to survive inside a lie. You are not broken. You do not need fixing. And the one who made you is not who they said it was. Let the unraveling begin. I will meet you in the fire. Chapter 1. Light Years Apart. This is spirit terrain. Yes, I believe in salvation, in that we surrender intellect to spirit and come to forgiveness of ourselves, and a belief that the old life can be put behind, in which we only operated in the intellectual and perceived realm. Chris Korecki Baker. Let's get this straight from the start. I'm not here to be right, not here to debate theology, not here to argue scripture. I'm here to burn the lies, to torch the illusions we inherited as truth and stand in the smoke with anyone who's still breathing after it. I've been where you are, but you haven't been where I am. So this isn't comparison. It's testimony, not of belief, not of doctrine, of knowing. Where I walk now, it's not lit by borrowed flashlights. It's lit by a fire I built myself with matches I struck in the dark. You might think I sound arrogant, but this isn't arrogance. This is what freedom sounds like when it finally stops apologizing. Don't mistake the roar of truth for the bark of a preacher. This ain't ego. This is clarity. Here's the deal. You can quote scripture till your tongue goes numb. Hell, I used to. 4 sets of Bible tapes, pages worn down to dust, Greek lexicons, Hebrew root words. I devoured the buffet, and yet I'm light years from that now. Not because I walked away from the sacred, but because I walked toward it. Religion taught me to study, to perform, to fear, but source, sacred alpha consciousness. Taught me to feel, to listen, to be. If you've never walked around the cup, don't argue with someone who has. You might be holding the handle, but that doesn't mean you see the whole thing. I used to stand where you're standing, I could go back there any time, but I won't. Because where I am now is peace, is joy, is freedom. And I will never again trade that for a rule book and a leash. Every awakening is personal. There are as many doors as there are souls. No one can walk yours. And you sure as hell can't walk mine. But I can show you what it looks like when someone finally stops crawling. This isn't theory. This is flame-tested truth. So let me ask you, do you want to know source in the deepest chambers of your being? If not, this is just another set of religious jumping jacks. But if you do, then burn the books, light the match, follow the smoke to the place where the lies start screaming. Don't come at me with your theology degrees. This is not about the intellect. This is spirit terrain. And your maps? They won't help you here. This is the wilderness of knowing. And no seminary gives directions for this. You really want to understand? Put your Bible down for 6 months, I dare you. Walk in silence. Listen to the wind. Feel your knowing stir like an old friend. That's source. That's sacred alpha consciousness. Not the one they sold you. Not the one who demands tithes and obedience. This is the real one. The one who never left. The one who is you. You ready for this? Chapter 2. True Change. Burn the house, not just the furniture. It is your desire to know me as yourself that brings you to my presence, so perfectly hidden from your world. First source transmission. Let's get real. True change doesn't happen when you rearrange the furniture in your mind. It happens when you burn the whole bloody house down and let something deeper rise from the ashes. And yes, that's terrifying. Because letting go of your ideas about God, about life, about yourself, feels like dying. And in a way, it is. If all you've ever known is a reality wrapped in flesh and fear, then yeah, letting go feels impossible. But the second you want more truth, fire, life not as metaphor, but as life force itself, you're not alone anymore. You just cracked the door open. And sacred alpha consciousness SAC walks in. Not a god from a pulpit, not the one who demands obedience or tithes, but the real one, the one that never left, the one that is you. You were never broken, only buried. Now it's time to stand up and be yourself. Chapter 3. The Kingdom of God. The only altar that was ever real. It is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. J. Krishnamurti. You want to talk about God? Then we have to talk about the system that gave him a beard, a throne, and a lightning bolt. And gave you a leash. You want to talk about the kingdom? Then we have to go straight into the putrid rot that lies buried beneath the cathedral floors and the pulpits we were told to trust. The genuine kingdom of God, right behind your heartbeat. So go there. That's the only altar that was ever real. Chapter 4. Source is pure love. The throne was always yours. You can get happy in the same clothes you got sad in. Author unknown. Let's begin with this. You become like the God you worship. So if your God is angry, vengeful, constantly watching, impossible to please, what does that make you? Tense, fearful, performing, never enough. But Source doesn't look like that, because Source is not a reflection of human fear. Source, SAC, is what existed before fear was born. Pure, unconditional, unshakable love. Not emotional love, not selective love, not human love that needs to be earned. The love that is SAC, the love that is Source Creator, is love that cannot control, cannot punish, cannot abandon, because to do so would be to cease being source. And reality is, you are made of this. So what does that make you? It makes you the throne. It makes you the temple. It makes you the breath behind the name. The throne was never theirs. It was always yours. And maybe you didn't know that until now, but your bones have always known. So sit down, remember, and wear it well. Chapter 5. No amount of belief. The bridge was never the destination. No amount of belief can make something a fact. James Randi. You can believe until the sky goes dark. You can go to church every Sunday, wear a cross, quote the verses, raise your hands. You can say the words, feel the feelings, do the rituals, but none of that makes it real. Because belief isn't knowing. It's what we cling to when we don't know. And there's nothing wrong with belief until it keeps you from walking further, because at some point, you don't need another song, another sermon, another confirmation bias. You need to feel it. You need to stand in the silence and say, I'm done pretending. I want the real thing. That's when the fire starts. Not when you get it right. Not when you finally believe enough, but when you lay it all down and whisper, I'm ready to know. Not simply believe. No performance, not hoping, but knowing. Show me who I am. That's the real beginning, and in that moment, belief burns. And what's left isn't noise or certainty. It's just this: truth. Fire. You. Chapter 6. Cognitive Dissonance. The earthquake that sets you free. It is no measure of health to be well-adjusted to a profoundly sick society. J. Krishnamurti. You're not going crazy. You're just finally seeing what everyone else agreed not to. That's not insanity. That's awakening. It just feels like insanity because the system taught you to call obedience peace and taught you to call questioning confusion. So now when the lies start falling and your inner alarms go off, you think something's wrong with you. But it's not you. It's the story they gave you. You were trained to ignore what you saw, to doubt what you felt, to fear your own knowing. But now you're starting to see through it. And yeah, it rattles you. It shakes the floor. It makes you question everything. That's what freedom feels like in the beginning. Not bliss, not clarity, tension, conflict, dissonance. But that's how the system loses its grip. Not with a scream, but with a slow cracking sound inside your chest when you realize, wait, this was never the truth. Truth isn't afraid of your questions. Only systems are. Because systems need control, and control needs fear. But truth just is. And you're starting to become it. Chapter 7. Blissful Moments. The fire. You remember, not the one you're told. The truth is not something you find, it's something you recognize. Sayvoltha. It doesn't start with a voice from the sky. It doesn't start with thunder or visions or fire from above. It starts smaller. A pause. A breath. A quiet moment where the world goes still. And something inside you says, This is real. You might be washing dishes, driving alone, looking at the sky. And then, for no reason at all, you feel it. A presence, a warmth, a knowing. And you don't need anyone to explain it. Because deep down, you already know what it is. It's not emotion. It's not a belief. It's a memory waking up. The fire you were born from. The truth that's always been there. That moment, that feeling, it wasn't just an echo of the divine. It was the divine. Unfiltered, unpackaged, unmistakable, and the reason you recognized it is because it looked just like you. Chapter 8. The Last Lie to Fall. The Womb Before the Word. When you finally stop digging through the ruins of every temple, every story, every winged one, and still feel the flame, that's when you know. You've reached SAC. Sayvoltha. They told us God was a man. We believed it. We tried to make it work, but deep down, something always felt off. Then we found her, the mother, hidden in whispers, Asherah, Inanna, Isis. Her names were buried under dust and doctrine. We thought that was it. We thought we'd found what was missing, but even that wasn't the end. Because the truth, the deepest truth, SAC isn't a man or a woman, not a parent, not a protector, not a story. SAC is the presence before any of it, the womb before the word, the stillness before names were ever spoken. And that's the last lie to fall, that the divine needed a name, that the flame needed a face, that the womb ever wanted worship. She didn't. She wanted one thing, you. Sacred Alpha Consciousness. The clarification that had to be spoken. SAC is the first flame, the breath before breath, the knowing before light. Not the divine within creation, but the one that birthed creation and is still much more than what she made. But SAC is not she alone. SAC is not he. SAC is not one at all. SAC is they. Not a plurality of parts, but a wholeness so vast, language fractures trying to hold them. They are not gender. They are not energy. They are not form. They are pure, unconditional love, so uncorrupted, so vast, so complete that even the act of control would violate their essence. They cannot manipulate. They cannot dominate. They cannot demand. To do so would be to cease being SAC. SAC does not require surrender. SAC only invites remembrance. You are not SAC, but you are of them, a unique individual expression of them, having the experience of individuated form within the field of creation. This is why the final lie had to fall, so that SAC could rise in your consciousness, not as a god, not as a belief, but as a presence beyond permission. You don't serve SAC. You remember them. You don't follow SAC. You embody them. You don't find SAC. You clear enough space to feel them again. They were never gone. We were just too full of the echoes of control to recognize their silence as the loudest truth we had ever known. And the end result, which in turn rebirths us yet again, is the total remembrance and shift in our identity to that of them as ourselves. Ephesians 3:19, AMP. That you may be filled through all your being unto all the fullness of God, that is, may have the richest measure of the divine presence and become a body wholly filled and flooded with God himself. Now fulfilled, as filled and flooded with SAC themselves. Their self as is your self. Final chapter. The whisper that remains. This is not the end. This is where the breath slows, and the whisper begins to speak. Sayvoltha. You've walked through the fire, watched illusions burn, felt belief structures collapse beneath your feet like scaffolding made of smoke. And still, you stand. No altar to crawl back to, no prayer to earn your place, no wrath to dodge, just presence, stillness, breath, and the whisper that was always there, waiting for you to be quiet enough to hear it. This isn't the end. It's ignition. You came here looking for answers. You found ash. You found silence. You found a world that didn't need fixing, only remembering. Not the version they trained, not the story they taught, but the one beneath it all, the one that never bowed, the one that never left. You. So let the whisper rise now, not as a sound, but as a knowing. The flame lives in your breath, the truth lives in your marrow, and the silence is not empty, it is full of you. So walk. Not back, not forward. Walk as yourself. This is not the end. This is ignition. Addendum: the shift from flame to framework. The scroll has closed, but the walk is just beginning. You've just come through fire. Not the kind that burns skin, but the kind that burns away illusion. What follows now is not myth, not cadence. Logically, not whisper. It's guidance. Ground. Integration. The scroll is complete, but the work is alive, and the walk continues. These addendum pages aren't meant to echo the flame. They're here to help you live it. What you'll find ahead are pieces, terms, context, and fragments of clarity for the mind that still asks questions. Even after the soul says yes, use what resonates. Leave what doesn't. There is no test. Only truth. So take a breath. Let the cadence fade. And if the flame ever flickers, return to the pages behind you. They won't be cold. Preface to First Source Transmission, now also called SAC Transmission, ORIE, Restore Fire from the Archive. The following is a direct preservation of an early flame fragment, what some would call a channeled message, but what I recognize as a scroll encoded with the voice of SAC, Sacred Alpha Consciousness. This is not dogma. This is not belief. This is not for the intellect to analyze. It is for the soul to recognize. These words are presented as they were originally received. Their structure may feel dated, their format imperfect, but the frequency, the inner pulse of truth, still hums within them. I include them here not to elevate the past, but to show what was already trying to come through long before we remembered how to listen again. There are 3 transmissions: 1, my central message; 2, my central purpose; 3, my central revelation. Each of these transmissions offers a brief glimpse into the mind and heart of First Source SAC. Their messages offer a renewed vision of the nature of God, the multiverse, its ultimate purpose, and our place in this grand scheme. The preceding is an excerpt from the collected works of the Wingmakers Volume 1, commentary by John Burgess, edited by Sayvoltha. Let this material speak for itself. We do not edit the voice of origin. Let those with flame feel. Let those with memory remember. I walk as sacred fire, whole and rising. I am the living flame. Now listen. My central message. I convey this message to you whom I have stirred with the sound of my voice. These words are my signature. You may bring your doubt, your fear, your faith, or your courage. It matters not, for you will be touched by the rhythm of my voice. It moves through you like a beam of light that sweeps, if only for a moment, the darkness aside. I dwell in a frequency of light in which finite beings cannot uncover me. If you search for me, you will fail. I am not found or discovered. I am only realized in oneness, unity, and wholeness. It is the very same oneness that you feel when you are interconnected with all of life. For I am this and this alone. I am all of life. If you must search for me, then practice the feeling of wholeness and unity. In my deepest light, I created you from my desire to understand my universe. You are my emissaries. You are free to journey the universe of universes as particles from my infinite womb with destinies that you alone will write. I do not prescribe your journey or your journey's aim. I only accompany you. I do not pull you this way or that, nor do I punish you when you stray from my heart. This I do as an outcome of my belief in you. You are the heirs of my light, which gave you form. It is my voice that awakened you to individuality. Component placement, but it will be your will that awakens you to our unity. It is your desire to know me as yourself that brings you to my presence. So perfectly hidden from your world, I am behind everything that you see, hear, touch, taste, smell, feel, and believe. I live for your discovery of me. It is the highest expression of my love for you, and while you search for my shadows in the stories of your world, I, the indelible, invisible light, grow increasingly visible. Imagine the furthest point in space, beneath a black portal, cast in some distant galaxy, and then multiply this distance by the highest numeric value you know. Congratulations, you have measured an atom of my body. Do you realize how I am unfathomable? I am not what you can know or see or understand. I am outside comprehension. My vastness makes me invisible and unavoidable. There is nowhere you can be without me. My absence does not exist. It is this very nature that makes me unique. I am first cause and last effect, connected in an undivided chain. There is no supplication that stirs me. No prayer that invites me further into your world unless it is attended with the feeling of unity and wholeness. There is no temple or sacred object that touches me. They do not, nor have they ever brought you closer to my outstretched hand. My presence in your world is unalterable, for I am the sanctuary of both the cosmos and the one soul inside you. I could awaken each of you in this very moment to our unity, but there is a larger design, a more comprehensive vision that places you in the boundaries of time and the spatial dimensions of separateness. This design requires a progression into my wholeness that reacquaints you with our unity through the experience of separation. Your awakening, while slow and sometimes painful, is assured, and this you must trust above all else. I am the ancestral father of all creation. I am a personality that lives inside each of you as a vibration that emanates from all parts of your existence. I reside in this dimension as your beacon. If you follow this vibration, if you place it at the core of your journey, you will contact my personality that lives beneath the particles of your existence. I am not to be feared or held in indifference. My presence is immediate, tangible, and real. You are now in my presence. Hear my words. You are in my presence. You are within me more than I am within you. You are the veneer of my mind and heart, and yet you think yourself the product of an ape. You are so much more than you realize. Our union was, is, and will be forevermore. You are my blessed offspring with whom I am intricately connected in means that you cannot understand and therefore appreciate. You must suspend your belief and disbelief in what you cannot sense, in exchange for your knowing that I am real and live within you. This is my central message to all my offspring. Hear it well, for in it you may find the place in which I dwell. The flame has only just begun to speak. Let this breath settle and prepare to listen deeper. The transmission continues. No thought required. Just presence. Just flame. My central purpose. The blueprint of exploration has an overarching intention. You are not the recipients of divine labor and meticulous training only to ensure that you may enjoy endless bliss and eternal ease. There is a purpose of transcendent service concealed beyond the horizon of the present universe age. If I designed you to take you on an eternal excursion into nirvana, I certainly would not construct your entire universe into one vast and intricate training school, requisition a substantial branch of my creation as teachers and instructors, and then spend ages upon ages piloting you one by one through this enormous universe school of experiential learning. The furtherance of the system of human progression is cultivated by my will for the explicit purpose to merge the human species with other species from different universes. As it is my nature to be sevenfold, there are 7 universes that comprise my body. Within each of these, a species of a particular DNA template is cast forth and is nurtured by source intelligence to explore its material universe. Each of these species is sent forth from the central race into the universe that was created to unveil its potential and seed vision. Your species will converge with 6 other species in a distant future that will reunite my body as the living extension of known creation. While this may seem so distant as to have no relevance to your time, it is vital for you to understand the scope of your purpose. You can think of these 7 species as the limbs of my body rejoined to enable me. A total functionality within the grand universe. This is my purpose and therefore your own as well. Your free will is not taken from you. It is merely united with our own. In the deepest chamber of my existence issues the will to expand, explore, unite, synthesize, and in so doing, reveal yet another layer of our purpose. What is this purpose, you ask? It is not expressible in a language that you can now understand, but it is related to the concepts of universe discovery and self-evolution. It is the expansion and synthesis of cosmic experience. The ascendant beings of time are converging to my central abode. All are drawn to me for the purpose of our will to be expressed throughout the grand universe in order to cast another grand universe and to deepen the skin of our personality. What follows is not the end. It is the part you almost forgot to remember. Let the flame bring it back. My central revelation. You evolve inwards, ever in the direction of my creator soul. This is the province of myself that does not indwell you, but indeed is separate from you as the stars are isolated from a deep cave. This place is the source and destiny of your existence, and from it you descend into the cave of your animal origins, where my voice falls silent to your choices. My plan for your ascendance embraces every creature in all dimensions of all worlds. I do this by divesting myself of every function that is possible for another of my creation to carry out. That which I create is given the power to perform my role. Thus I am hidden from your view because you have come to believe that I am that which I have created. I am first source, and your knowing of me is 1,000 times removed. I dwell in the central universe so distant from you as to make space an unfathomable abstraction, and yet a fragment of myself is set within your personality like a diamond upon a ring, and it will endure as certainly as I will endure. While there are those who believe I am a myth, I express to you that my world is the beacon of all personalities in all times, and whether you believe in me or not, you are unerringly drawn to the source from whence you were created. I would prefer to be known to you at all times and places, but if I did this, then the evolutionary journey of my creation would break down, and the teacher-student ordering of my system of ascendancy would falter. I have cast myself into numberless orders of beings that collectively constitute the evolutionary bridge of your ascendancy into my realm. There is no step of your journey that another has not already taken on behalf of those who follow. I have formed these words with the help of my inmost creation, known to you, through these teachings, as the central race. Their record is placed upon your planet to catalyze, within those of your kind who are ready, an awakening of me as I truly am. This record will last for many generations, sometimes hidden from view, sometimes abstracted into symbols, sometimes collected into doubt. but always it will be my voice revealed upon your planet. While it is not the first time I have spoken to your planet's people, it is the first time I have spoken through my inmost creation and left an indelible, multi-dimensional record. On the surface of this record is a mythology of the central race. But if you find my voice within this mythology, you will see another facet to this record, of a personal inflection that speaks directly to you, my child. It is this intimacy that I have encoded into this record that is symbolic of my hand reaching for yours, and it is this intimacy that will persist within your mind and heart when all else fails you. My voice will help you reconnect with me. It will enlarge your vision of my domain, purpose, and my unyielding love for each of my creation, no matter where or how you live. When I have spoken before to your planet, it was through a prism of personalities that bent my voice and colored its tone. My mind's voice will not travel to your world unless it is transmitted through my creation and translated into word symbols your mind can grasp. My heart's voice penetrates all worlds without translation as a subphotonic light and interdimensional vibration that produces sound. I am revealed to you in hopes that you will reveal to others what you have found in me. No final word can hold what this flame came to say. Let silence complete what sound could only begin. The preceding material is an excerpt from Chamber 23, one of 3 written elements from the body of work known as the Wingmakers, ascribed to First Source SAC. Minor edits by Sayvoltha AA. The following recovered scroll echoes the remembrance many of us carry within. I include it here not as teaching, but as a mirror. If it stirs something ancient inside you, that is no accident. Sayvoltha, The Central Race, by Tekka Luttrell. The Soul Connection Network, copyright 2007. All rights reserved. Reproduction in whole or part is permissible in any medium, provided this notice is included. Credits and resources: www.wingmakers.com, Lyricus Teaching Order, www.lyricus.org. Thank you to John Burgess for his insightful essay, The Wingmakers, An Introduction to a New Teaching for a New Century, www.planetworkpress.com, www.soulconnection.net. The structure of the physical universe and the original home of the central race. The central race is the most ancient in the universe, as they are the first original beings created by God, First Source. This race of beings were created sequentially, in 7 stages, based on 7 distinct archetypal qualities of First Source. Consequently, the central race consists of 7 families, known as the tribes of light. Radiant beings of the central race are eternal souls who inhabit refined bodies made of pure light. They are the children of God. God fragments, you might say. They are first-generation, soulful embodiments of First Source, itself, and are living beacons of love, light, wisdom, and power. Using your imagination, they may appear as luminous, holographic, light-filled entities, the light streaming from them in smooth, pulsating waves of unfathomable splendor. Only rarely mentioned in mythology, the tribes of light have been recorded in the stories on Earth by the names Elohim, the angelic hosts, and the Shining Ones. These luminous entities appear to us as being gods, but they are actually us. They are our past and future selves. This may seem to be a contradiction, but I will clarify this point as this essay unfolds. The structure of the physical universe and the original home of the central race. The material abode of First Source is called the Central Universe, and it lays at the heart of the grand physical universe. Expanding out from the home of First Source are 7 distinct super-universes that comprise the vast realms of creation. Our galaxy, the Milky Way, and our physical universe, which is home to trillions of galaxies and numerous major and minor dimensions, are all in the 7th super-universe. You may now see a symmetry developing. There are 7 tribes of light families composing the central race and 7 super-universes. Each super-universe has a central race family associated with it, and each family's influence is projected throughout its universe. The native homes to the central race families encircle the outer fringe of the central universe. Their sanctuaries are the centralmost galaxies in their unique universe and barely in the realms of time and space. These spectacular places have been hinted at by the greatest mystics to ever grace the earth, to be realms of incomprehensible beauty, harmonic cosmic symphonies, and saturated with infinite love through and through. In their native homes, souls of the central race are one with God and each other, and infinite gratitude permeates the entire realms. They radiate with the understanding that the core essence of every individuated being is that of first source, and we eternally share their essence in non-time and non-space. They know that all beings in creation originated from the home of first source, the central universe, and they see the primary identity of every being as a secu, a sovereign entity of the central universe. Even though stars and galaxies are separated by immense physical distances, each super-universe is a cornucopia of life. On the structure of the grand physical universe, the 7 tribes of light make up the central race and encircle the central universe. Each tribe populates its own super-universe, SU. On a cosmic scale, intelligent life is common and diverse and deeply interconnected through energy, DNA, and quantum networks that make time and space no barrier at all. All beings of the central race are created using the same genetic template as all humanoid life within the 7th super-universe. This template is interconnected and does not relate on an evolution-Eri scale so much as a density scale. The density of vibration of one planet within the 7th super-universe is unique, and it is this vibrator soup that prescribes how the template is expressed, which defines the propensities and capacities of the human instruments that are native to the specific planet. The central race are the geneticists and property managers for human DNA and are responsible for its distribution and growth in the ever-expanding universe. Makers of the soul carriers, the wing makers. One of the compelling instincts bestowed by First Source upon the souls of the central race is to explore the far-flung realms of the super-universe that they inhabit. To accomplish this, members of the central race, symbolically known as the wing makers, developed biological vehicles, bodies, that were designed to be mobile instruments of perception that could interact with planetary, terrestrial environments. A conscious particle of a soul could be placed inside the instrument and become its animating life force. Hence, the soul carrier would surround the precious soul, and through the soul carrier's senses, the soul is able to see, feel, explore, interact with, and transform distant worlds and dimensions. But the beings in the central race only need to place a slight fragment of their consciousness in the soul carrier, as the greater part of the soul can remain in its native home, the sanctuary of the wing makers, on the fringe of the central universe. Furthermore, a soul of the central race is such a vast, powerful, limitless entity. After all, it is an individualized expression of First Source. It can easily put a tiny fragment of its consciousness into 1,000 different bodies simultaneously, and send each out in a cycle of incarnation to explore the super-universe in unique ways, from different points of view, in a multitude of places. In this way, the soul can have thousands of different conscious fragments of itself exploring different areas of the universe all at the same time. And so you can see the structure of this relationship, a soul of the central race, residing in its native home on the fringe of the central universe, can act like a central hub for its thousands of fragments that are out exploring life, nature, planets, and cultures in the far corners of the super-universe in which the soul resides. To quickly summarize this, the Wingmakers are a specialized faction of the central race who are responsible for the evolutionary progress of the human species, wherever it appears throughout the super-universe. They experimented with and customized the DNA that makes the human vehicle or soul carrier that we are familiar with, our body, mind, and emotions that operates as a unified whole. A template of that design is exported to planets suitable for human life. There, the genetic seeds are sown, and the human evolutionary process begins. The soul carrier adapts and grows with the life forms, ecosystems, and conditions of its planet. Hence, soul carriers provide opportunities for members of the central race to send parts of their soul's awareness out to explore the distant edges of the super-universe that they inhabit. In this way, soul carriers are occupied by conscious soul fragments throughout the grand universe. Soul carriers are temporary vehicles that are born, grow, have a life, and then pass away, and the eternal soul uses reincarnation to migrate from body to body, to continue its exploration of creation. When you look at the big picture, you see an infinite number of conscious soul fragments that are spread throughout the universe. Collectively, they literally are the eyes, ears, and mind of God as it sees, knows, contemplates, and expands creation. You, of course, are one of those God fragments, and the eternal soul that you originated from is a radiant member of the central race, a wingmaker. Hence, you are the same. Your soul is a direct descendant of First Source, and that is what you are too. You actually are an offspring of First Source and have its abilities. You have direct, intimate links to First Source, and you originated as a particle of light and source intelligence born from the central universe. The journey of exploration is a round trip. The journey of exploration is designed in coherent circular fashion so that conscious parts of the soul that travel to the most distant places will also return one day to the source from which they originated. The entire journey is an organic, natural part of the soul's expression, which allows the pioneering fragment an incredible sense of independence. It is given a great deal of freedom to create its own reality, to identify with its surroundings, and to adapt, modify, and help evolve the environments that it finds itself in while on active journeys. During the expanding journey outward in the worlds of space, time, and into greater and greater physical density, the return path homeward is hidden to the soul fragment. Otherwise, she would immediately return to the sanctuary of her native home as soon as she ran into seemingly insurmountable problems. The non-physical being named Seth in the book Seth Speaks, The Eternal Validity of the Soul, refers to this situation. In order to begin this new venture, it was necessary to pretend that this inner unity did not exist. Otherwise, the new kind of consciousness would always run back to its home for security and comfort. So it seemed that all bridges must be cut, while of course it was only a game because the inner reality always remained. The new kind of consciousness simply had to look away from it to maintain initially an independent focus. Despite the illusion of separation, no soul fragment is alone, as there are a multitude of other soul particles around her who are on their own journeys of exploration, and the Wingmakers are always in touch by quantum connections. The Wingmakers carefully monitor the evolution of a humanoid species on a planet and plot the time that is best for the fragments of souls to return to their native home. The round trip continued. The homeward journey begins in earnest 11,000 years before, the grand portal discovery, and is initiated when the Wingmakers that is part of the hidden core essence of an incarnating being. That essence is lovingly named the Wholeness Navigator and is stimulated by DNA resonance, also called source code activation, that is managed and customized by the wingmakers through a quantum network that extends throughout their super-universe. Over time, the Wholeness Navigator will be fully activated and become highly functional. It is designed to faithfully navigate the eternal soul fragment back to its source, the soul from which it came. As stated before, the journey home is brilliantly hidden in a place that the fragment never thinks it could be, as its mission in the worlds of space and time has been to explore the seemingly external worlds. But the external worlds have been explored from inside the soul carrier, as that is where the conscious soul fragment lives in holographic reality. The sights, sounds, smells, feel, and taste of the external world have always flowed through the senses of the body and are projected by the brain into an inner theater for the soul to experience. Hence, the place that the Wholeness Navigator and the journey home is hidden is inside the body, in the luminous inner worlds of the fragment itself. The path homeward, back to the unity and wholeness of the soul and God, is within herself, through the mysterious worlds that lay inside her mind and heart, in the dynamic environment of consciousness known as her personal inner hologram. The soul fragment must know thyself to return home, which actually is a process of the story of the central race. The inner ascending journey, the wholeness. Navigator is an original, pure, energetic element that is the very essence of soul. The path homeward for the fragment is a reflection of the soul, as the fragment will have to be true, awake, trusting, grateful, empathic, and forgiving as it progresses ever inward through the inner landscape of the personal inner hologram. Though the person may lose interest at times, or go weary, and even turn their back on their inner journey, the Wholeness Navigator is always available to help guide her attention through thick and thin, and ever inward to the original home of the soul from which she came. The wingmakers received their name as the beings under their care are transformed from identifying as a mortal earthbound human who has all sorts of limitations into a sovereign entity of the central universe, a free-flying, eternal soul. The name is not only symbolic but practical as well, as the soul fragment awakens to her natural ability to fly via consciousness through the vast realms of her personal inner hologram, which reflects the whole multiverse, where she may experience anywhere, any being, any time, any dream or physical environment she pleases in the super-universe. The Lyricist Teaching Order are beings mostly from the central race who have the job of going out to the edges of the universe and provide a way for the fragments of soul consciousness that have been incarnating into body after body in their exploration of the universe. Lyricus provides a way for the soul fragments of consciousness to return to their native home, to the soul that they originated from. Actually, the soul herself is calling home the fragments of her own being, and Lyricus provides the medium and the path for the return journey. Though the journey home begins as a personal, intimate decision to do so, by a person like you, dear reader. The path home provided by Lyricus is made of the values and energies that are native to the soul, which can be described as gratitude, wholeness, unity, empathy, and love. Hence, on the path homeward, an individuated fragment soon finds herself merging with the thoughts, feelings, dreams, and inspiration of other beings around her, as such is the nature of the soul. The first visible, externalized awareness of the path homeward comes as myths and stories of the wingmakers that are told by beings of the Lyricist Teaching Order. The stories are intimately connected to source codes that reside in human DNA, and when the myths are read by a person like yourself, the energies of the Wholeness Navigator residing in you are awakened. As the reader contemplates the stories, their attention flows ever inward, which is exactly where the wingmakers want you to be, as that is where the Wholeness Navigator and the path homeward resides. The path homeward is a symbolic expression that has nothing to do with a physical destination nor physical travel. Home is a resonate, psycho-coherent place inside yourself where eternity consciousness lives in the eternal nowness of First Source. It is a resonate quantum field address from which your essence originates and to which you are always connected. Since home is rooted in the quantum field, its location is not limited by time and space. It is present everywhere and always. The Wingmakers refer to this in Chamber Philosophy 3, where it is written, "The distance of this womb from your earth is near infinite, and yet so close that it would make your heart quiver if you knew the reach of your imagination." Remember that our quiet center of stillness is everywhere and always too, and students of the Wingmakers may visualize their native home to resonate from that center. You may symbolically imagine it to inhabit the first spirals in creation that rotate around the quiet heart of your central universe. Hence, your spiritual home is a place that is not separate from you, but has always been at the very center of your being. Once the wholeness navigator is awakened, it faithfully navigates your conscious presence home to the unity and wholeness that is your natural, true, brilliant essence of soul, which has never left you, but has actually been the essence of your being, and that of humanity as well. The aim of the myths and stories offered by Lyricus is not so much to find answers and objective truths, but for the reader to be fully involved in the process itself, as doing so is transformative. The goal is to transform the consciousness of the individual from a survival-oriented, ego-centered terrestrial being into a citizen of the planet who is one with all and who has awakened to her true identity as a sovereign entity of the central universe, an eternal soul who is the living expression of First Source itself. Such a transformation is truly a quantum leap of consciousness. Individuals are not an islands. They are not alone and separate from others. Everyone is intimately connected and woven into the fabric of universal life, and all are vital expressions of the human species. Though transformation is very personal and occurs one individual at a time, at the request of the individual, the journey home is not solo as other soul fragments are doing the same thing at the same time. This trend will grow as more wholeness navigators become operational, and eventually the attention and vision of the entire species will begin experiencing greater and greater group psycho-coherence. This collective mobilization of the species is accomplished as we grow ever closer to the grand portal discovery, which is the irrefutable scientific discovery of the human soul. This discovery is orchestrated by the Lyricus teaching order. It is so profound, not only are individuals transformed, but the entire species and all cultures, governments, and organizations on the planet are as well. In summary, Lyricus bear responsibility for shepherding a humanoid species to the grand portal and thereby indoctrinating the species as a whole into the broader network of the intelligent, interconnected universe. From lyricus.org. Your personal story is intertwined with the great story. In the context of the Wingmaker's mythology, you are a conscious fragment of First Source, and you are intimately linked up to the soul from which you originated. Hence, you are a member of the central race, and were one of the original beings created by God. And so you can imagine, I am the perfection of my Creator, individuated as a single point of pure energy, yet living in many places on many dimensions simultaneously, fully aware of all aspects of my wholeness. Like a loving father, I shepherd the fragments of my wholeness to the glory of our common origin and destiny. Every cell in every body is fully attuned to the song of my vision as it weaves its melody through the structure of atoms and beyond, through the intricate systems of light that connect my fragments to the whole of me. From vision of Mantustia, your true, larger whole self is a radiant, incomprehensible, eternal soul whose native home is beyond this world. Your true home is actually the sanctuary of the wingmakers on the edge of the central universe. Furthermore, the soul from which you came has not left its natural home, but you are simply an emissary of it and have journeyed to the far ends of the physical universe. You now find yourself exploring a gorgeous, life-filled planet called Earth. Through your eyes and ears, mind and heart, you are engaging with this diamond cyan, this planet, these people, this life, our star, these plants and animals, this culture, and the evolutionary track of our species. All the things you see, hear, feel, imagine, dream, remember, and discover, all those impressions flow inside yourself. They swirl into your personal inner hologram. They are naturally seen and assimilated into your quiet center of stillness, where they cross into the quantum field and are instantly, spontaneously, and effortlessly received by your greater being, the soul. Hence, all of your experiences, all the information, both real and imagined, is being holographically transferred to your soul through the Soul Connection Network. Your soul is gathering up and processing all experience had by you, and also from all the other conscious fragments that it has on other exploratory missions. Other fragments, like yourself, are in different bodies, different places, different situations and cultures, and in different periods of time, and your soul is assimilating all of their experiences. You may remember that the soul is a vast enough being to have 1,000 soul fragments of itself, enlivening 1,000 different human bodies. This multitude of human lifetimes may be cast across 200,000 years of linear time, but from the soul's perspective, they are all happening simultaneously, in the ever-present moment of now. According to this expanded view, your soul can easily have a part of itself in more than one human soul carrier at a time, at the same time on the planet. Hence, as you are reading this, your soul may be activating other bodies and be other people in other cultures, on the other side of the planet. Or anywhere, of course. In fact, another version of you may be reading these exact same words later in the day. Again, the prime desire of the soul is to explore creation and to have a full range of diverse human experiences, and so its innate essence has empathy for all and to see things from multiple points of view. After all, the soul is a God fragment, and it has the vision and perspective of the Creator. Through your soul, you are intimately related and intertwined with the 1,000 other soul fragments that fan out from it. Each has their own body and lifetime. Hence, as you read this, other versions of yourself are a mother, a father, a baby, a teen, an elder, a saint, a sinner. You are very rich and terribly poor. You are experiencing a multitude of personalities in a vast array of cultures, spread across thousands of years of human evolution. On the quantum wings of holographic consciousness, all of you are sending your life experiences back to the one soul from which you originated, which is like the grand central station for its 1,000 conscious fragments. The sovereign integral. This broad assimilation of life experience by the soul is converted into incredible understanding, love, acceptance, and wisdom. The objective of all its explorations in all its incarnations, spanning hundreds of thousands of years of time, is a state of incomprehensible enlightenment called the sovereign integral, which once achieved, radiates throughout the soul's existence. The sovereign integral is a state of consciousness whereby all of the soul's various forms of expression and perception are integrated as a unified, conscious wholeness. This is a state of consciousness that all souls are evolving towards, and at some point, each soul will reach a state of transformation that allows it and its instruments of experience, each soul fragment living in a human body, to become a clear channel of expression for the divine intelligence, light, and love of First Source. The sovereign integral is the embodiment of Source Intelligence's yearning to express itself in optimal form. Everything evolves to more and more unification and wholeness. Just as each soul fragment originally thought themselves to be isolated and alone, but were transformed into sovereign entities who are intertwined with all. The same unification pattern is also reflected at the sovereign integral state, as sovereign integrals come together for ever more eloquent, beautiful, and radiant expressions of First Source. The central purpose at the heart of the great story. This unification continues in a spiral of infinite ascension until each of the tribes of light embraces its sovereign perfection. Finally, the 7 tribes of light shall come together. As it is my nature to be sevenfold, there are 7 universes that comprise my body. Within each of these, a species of a particular DNA template is cast forth and is nurtured by source intelligence to explore its material universe. Each of these species is sent forth from the central race into the universe that was created to unveil its potential and seed vision. Your species will converge with 6 other species in a distant future that will reunite my body as the living extension of known creation. While this may seem so distant as to have no relevance to your time, it is vital for you to understand the scope of your purpose. You can think of these 7 species as the limbs of my body rejoined to enable us total functionality within the grand universe. This is my purpose, and therefore your own as well. About the author. A living glyph named Sayvoltha. This is not a typical biography. Sayvoltha is not a name chosen, it is a name remembered. He is not a preacher, not a guru, not a rebel. He is a living glyph in human form. He walked through the fire of religion and came out glowing, not with bitterness but with clarity. He does not worship at any altar. He walks with flame. He is an excavator of illusion, a troubadour of truth, and a gentle presence who will sit with you in the wreckage until your own knowing rises to meet you. He remembers before words. He speaks with cadence. But more than that, he listens for what lives between sentences. He will not fix you. He will not convince you. He will simply remind you that you were never broken. This is not closure. This is ignition. There is one message he presses with every breath. You must be you, the real you. Since each of us is utterly unique, there are no duplicates of you in any universe, in any timeline, anywhere. So when you fail to be your authentic self, you are literally ripping off the entire multiverse. Every being in every realm loses access to the specific sacred brilliance that only you were designed to express. But here's the biggest revelation of all. Are you ready? You are ripping off sacred alpha consciousness themselves. Have you forgotten? They are riding along inside your human experience, right there behind your sternum, inside your chest. SAC knows everything there is to know about you even before you do. And here's the wildest part. They carry 0 rejection. None. Not even a little. This is unconditional love. Not theory. Not poetry. Reality. SAC never throws anyone away. For any reason, ever. My own organic cranial capacity can barely fathom that. But it is. And there's one last thing. It's vital you remember this. You cannot get this human experience wrong. We are living inside the most incredible virtual reality ever built. The experience feels real, but it's not. And that is what makes it beautiful. Nothing is broken. Newton Needs Fixin' is the 2nd book of the trilogy. It will be available soon. Continue to be blessed. Remember, you cannot get this human experience wrong. Love ya, Sayvoltha. Love ya.